Eventually, drinking leads to other things. I was smoking marijuana, started taking LSD, magic mushrooms. I stopped going to church. I left it all behind. The things of the world, it was more important to me. I thought Christianity's boring. Load of rules and regulations, don't do this, don't do that. There and then, I knew something had changed. I felt the presence of God come into my life. Yes, my name's Daniel Wills. I'm age 50. I'm living in Enniskillen now. That always wasn't the case. I was born in Gateshead, which is in Tyneside, just the other side of the Tyne Bridge from Newcastle upon Tyne. I was the oldest of 4 children. All was good as a child. I had good memories. Loving parents. My daddy was made redundant when I was 13 and parents told me, look, we're moving to Enniskillen. We moved to Enniskillen and all was good. After a while, it wasn't long, my parents started attending church and they got saved, born again. God came into their lives, so they started sending me to Sunday school, and that would have been the first time I heard the good news about Jesus. I found it interesting, but didn't really make a commitment. It was around this time, age 14, I started drinking alcohol the odd weekend, going out and getting drunk. It actually brought me out of my shell. I was a wee bit shy after moving from one country to another and making new friends. So this continued well into my teens, started working when I was 18 and I had more money. I started going out every weekend. Eventually drinking leads to other things. With me in the circle I ran in, I was smoking marijuana, started taking LSD, magic mushrooms, things like this. And it's just the life I wanted to lead. I stopped going to church. I left it all behind. The things of the world, it was more important to me at this young age. Around this time, I was 19, 20, moved to London for a year and was working hard, making money, and it was the same, running to the pub every weekend after a week's work and going out, trying to meet girls and smoking a bit of marijuana. And I moved back to Enniskillen age 21, and this is when I started getting seriously into drugs. Started nightclubbing. Was taking ecstasy, speed, I was even taking heroin. Monday to Friday didn't matter, getting a Friday night to the pub, clubbing Saturday, recovering, or drinking again on a Sunday, and back to work, repeat. And eventually went to Amsterdam on a trip one time. 4 or 5 boys out, doing what you do in Amsterdam, taking lots of drugs. I remember I was smoking heroin, started to feel unwell. I went back to the hotel room. I went to the bathroom, started being sick. And I was never sick in my life, violently sick, so I could hardly breathe. This was my body trying to get rid of the toxins. Eventually I ended up going unconscious. How long I was unconscious for, I don't know, but I remember coming round and I was covered in vomit and I was hugging a toilet bowl. Thankfully that was the last time I dabbled with heroin, but everything else continued. 2002 I went to Australia for 12 months. Same again, working hard, partying every weekend.
You know, when you moved to Australia, did you ever move with the intention of trying to stop this lifestyle?
Well, the nightclubbing and the drugs stopped. It's mainly drinking at this stage. You were trying to replace the feeling from drugs with alcohol, and so obviously you were drinking to excess and blanking out at times, not knowing where you were, what you were doing, which isn't healthy. I came home just before I turned 30, so I was only home a couple of months. Decided to move to New York. A friend was in New York, put me up for a while, and it was the same again, partying all weekend long. Stuck this lifestyle for 2 years, then I come home, back to Enniskillen. When you hit your 30s, the hangovers come on quicker, and they start to last longer, and then started to depress me a wee bit. I would have done a lot of drinking and drugging with my brother Trevor, but something unusual happened to him too. He had an encounter with God, he was born again, and I actually admired him for it, but I never told him because he would have invited me to church and I didn't want to go. I basically wanted my sinful lifestyle still. And he gave his testimony in the Elim Pentecostal Church. It was amazing to see the change in his life and admired for him. I seen how God had changed his life and he was so happy and he had something I didn't have. He had joy and peace, and I thought this come from drinking drugs. But anyway, life went on, continued with the partying, and Christmas 2014 my brother Trevor gave me a New Testament as a Christmas present. I thought, oh wow, I've never actually read the Bible. But there was a 6-month guide in the back, so New Year's Day, January the 1st, I decided I'd start reading it. I thought Christianity's boring, load of rules and regulations, don't do this, don't do that. I started reading this Bible and I read about Jesus healing the sick, even raising the dead in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. And then I got to Acts and I seen how Paul used to persecute Christians, how God came into his life and changed his life. And then I got to the book of Romans, and it's like the two sides of a coin. You've got the Gospels about the love of God, and then you've the book of Romans about God's judgment, the other side of the coin. And I was under serious conviction here. I seen the peace and joy Trevor had and what other people had in their lives, and I realised I need God in my life. In my own living room, just from reading the Bible, I prayed to Jesus Christ, asked him into my life, asked him to forgive me for my sins. I can honestly say I had a born-again experience. There and then, I knew something had changed. I felt the presence of God come into my life. I have to say it was a life-changing experience. I used to have a foul language and all, and this slowly disappeared, and the drink and the drugs, like they never existed. I was attending church, and there was opportunities came along, and instead of travelling to Australia and New York or London or Amsterdam, running around taking drugs, I went out to Romania. I went out first to Bucharest, working on an orphanage, building bedrooms for children, painting the place, just giving the place a bit of a spruce up. Done it a year or two later, went out to Cluj in Romania, done the same again. Actually giving something back. Is just how God has flipped things. He knows I like travelling. I'm going out and I'm doing some good and I'm giving something back. And a couple of years down, I'd been praying for a wife because I did feel a wee bit lonely at times. I prayed for a wife, but I thought, I'm in my 40s now. The amount of girls I've had in my 20s and 30s. If I was going to meet someone, I would have met someone by now. But December 2018, I met a girl, Lynn Johnson. A similar story to myself. Early 40s. Into drink and drugs, got saved, born again, God come into her life, and we met and we just clicked like it's never clicked before with the girl. I knew perhaps as early as the second time I met her that this was the one for me, and thankfully she felt the same. And by the end of February we were engaged and we were married the end of August. 7-8 months after meeting, and we were both sure God was in it. And so I tried things my way, and I got sick of it. And since I've asked God in my life, things could not be better. And I give thanks to Jesus Christ and all glory to him.